What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Kenny here from 619 Guitars and Gear, and today we are going to finally dive into and check out the MX5. It is the amp modeling multi-effects processor pedal from Headrush. So as always, let's get into it. Super compact, yet loaded with all the power of Headrush, MX5 is an incredibly easy to use and realistic sounding guitar effects and amp modeler that is ideal for the desktop, the studio, and the stage. Featuring a finely tuned multi-core processor and a 4-inch high-resolution touch display, the Headrush MX5 makes tone building easy, letting you touch, swipe, drag, and drop to instantly create and edit your perfect tone. Alright, so we got a nice tight shot on the unit here. What I'm going to do is basically just give you a tour of what you see here on the face. We'll go into some of the menus. I'll show you around that. And then after I show you, a tour of the unit itself, we will grab a guitar and just go through some of the presets and check out some of these sounds, and then we'll check out the rig that I made. Obviously, there is a lot of sounds on this thing as far as effects and presets for different rigs. We're not going to be able to check out a lot today. I don't want this video to be super long, but what I plan on doing is making a second part to this video where we will go more in depth. This is kind of be just a first impression review, and I just kind of want to show you around. I'm still learning. What I suggest is if you get one of these, go on Headrush's YouTube. They have a bunch of videos that basically explain every little thing broken down into separate videos, so that's really cool. There's still a lot I'm learning with the whole set list thing and the whole scenes thing. That stuff's pretty easy. I just really haven't gotten to it yet. But real quick, let's show you around the unit. On the face here, you have your main volume. So that's basically your overall volume for the whole unit. If you have your expression pedal assigned to something else, you can always use this to control levels. Under that, you have a kind of like a scroll knob. This comes in handy if you have huge fat fingers like me and you have trouble with touch screens. Sometimes select the wrong thing. Same way with my iPhone. You can use this. You would just highlight whatever you want and then use it to scroll through left or right. And then when you want to select whatever you highlighted, you just click down on it and it will bring you into whatever menu you have highlighted. You can also, use your finger and do it that way and double click and it will bring you to the same menu. So I think that's a great feature. Like I said, for people with fatter fingers, it's just definitely a plus. So you have your 3 stomp buttons here. You can assign them to do different things. So that's always a great feature. Stomp button number 1, you can hold down and that will bring you your hands-free mode, your set list mode, which I got to figure out still. And then hybrid, I believe when you click that, it just brings you to be able to go through all your different presets. And then you can scroll through them really easily, a couple different ways. And then when you hold down number 2, that will bring up your looper station. So that's really cool. And then obviously when you hold down number 3, that'll bring up your tuner. It says it all under here. Obviously you have to have the tuner. I really like the tuner on this unit. It's super accurate and you can do some really fine tuning. So I like that. And then obviously you have your expression pedal. You can adapt a second expression pedal and assign them to do 2 different things. So that's really cool. But on this screen here, we have some of our presets that come on the unit. There's a lot of them. There's like 275 of them, I believe, or 274. So to scroll through, you can use your stomp buttons. You can use the screen here, next or previous. You can also highlight and use the scroll knob to scroll through. Something cool they did is if you hit these 3 lines up here, they broke down all the presets into categories. So that is a great feature. You can also use the search option and type in a specific name of a preset, or if you made a rig, you can type in the name and that'll bring that up. So let's go to the one I made here. Let's see. I named it computer tone because it's just a basic, when I plug into my interface, just a basic distortion, and it comes right up. You click it and boom, there it is. So it's just a gate, a K drive, a drop tune, ambiverb, my amp head, which is an SL100. It's a dynamic delay, a dynamic compressor, a graphic EQ, and then I have a custom IR loaded into it. When I use the custom IR, I don't use a cab. I just found that it sounds a lot better. So you can assign these stomp buttons to control different things, which I'll show you in a second here. But to get through the options to select your amps and your effects and stuff, you would just hit a empty block here, and it'll bring up this menu, and that's where you would select all your different effects, your cabs, and then you just select that, and there's all your different options there. So it's basically the same all the way through, all your delays and reverbs and so on. Another cool thing is with this effects loop option, you can put that effects loop block anywhere, and anything after that will be in the effects loop. When you're using like the 4 cable method, that comes in really handy. To delete something, you would just simply highlight it, drag it down, and boom, it's gone. So that's a great option. That's basically how you get into all your different effects and stuff. You have your in and your out. You can, adjust the levels. With the in, you can put a gate on right off the bat, so that's really cool. You can adjust all your tails and everything like that, and stereo mono. So that's a great feature. And then up here you have these 3 dots. You would click them, brings down another drop down menu. So that also, you can do new rig, delete rig, edit rig, discard changes, and hardware assign in global settings. And also there is a lock screen. So we'll go to hardware assign real quick. And what this does is you can basically assign all the different buttons to do different things. So you can assign your expression pedals to do different things. You can assign your stomp buttons to do different things. This is where that whole set list and the scene thing comes in handy. I still have to figure it all out. There's kind of a lot to it, but it is simple. It seems like I really just haven't gotten to it. But right now I have assigned the 3 buttons to do 3 different things. So I have it assigned for a K drive, my drop tune, and ambiverb. And then the way you can get to that is if you hold down stomp number 1, go to stomps hand free, and then you'll see here it'll show what you have your stomp buttons on. So you can turn on and activate your overdrive, you can activate your drop tune or the ambiverb. Basically you can make it do whatever you want. So that is a cool feature. There's a lot more to it. I suggest going on Headrush's website and watching their video. So we'll go back to this drop down, and then we will go to global settings, and no, that's a lock screen. See, fat fingers. And global settings is basically your main menu for the whole unit. So you have all your output levels, you can select what you're using, a line, an amp, your rack, stomp, you can just select everything. You have all your sample rates for your USB. You can go to block number 2 here. That's all your MIDI levels and programming changes and everything. And then you can change the different colors of the screen, kind of set up the screen how you want it color-wise. Go to block 3, which I really like here, and you have an overall EQ for the whole unit. I really like that feature. You don't have to go changing your rig if you have something set and you don't want to mess it up. You can, if you go to a different room and it sounds a little bit thin, or you want to make it a little bit fuller, you can adjust your overall EQ. So that's really cool. I really like that feature. Now when it comes to connecting USB and doing your IRs and your set lists and everything, you would hit these 3 dots, and that's where that comes down. You can do your firmware update through USB, or you can also do USB transfer. You would plug your USB cable into the computer, and then you would hit USB transfer, and your computer will recognize this unit as basically an external drive. And then you just, drag and drop your IR folders into the folder for the Headrush. And yeah, it's really, really simple. They have a video on it on their YouTube. Definitely check it out. It's worth watching. Same with the firmware update. This is basically the same thing. So basically wanted to show you around all the different menus. There's, some stuff that I'm missing here, but like I said, I suggest watching their videos. They will explain it more in depth. Real quick, I want to grab the guitar and just scroll through some of the different presets, and we will check out my tone here that I made called Computer Tone, which is just a basic distortion. So let's grab the guitar and check that out. All right, so we got the guitar out. Basically, just going to go through 1 or 2 presets, and then we're going to jump right to my distortion I made, and I'll talk about that a little bit. Like I said, the setting I made isn't by any means perfect yet. I kind of just threw something together quick for the video. And yeah, I think it sounds really nice and thick so far, but we'll probably do some tweaking to it and fine tune it later on. But this is preset number 1 that came with the unit. Is called How Does It Feel? So. Check out something else here real quick. Let's go to ampy tones. What's that? Watching Tides. That's nice. Do something heavy. Let's go. Perfect RX. What is this? Oh boy. Sounds like a 15-watt Marshall amp distortion. There's so many of these, so to just sit here and go through them is just crazy. You got clean tones, no crystal ball. Some of them sound really good. Some of them are just kind of crazy. You know, let's just jump right to the setting I made. Like I said, it is by no means perfect, but it's kind of a work in progress. I think I can get it to be really good, and I like it so far. Like I said, it's got a gate, overdrive, a drop tune pedal which isn't activated, the ambiverb which isn't activated, but I'll show you them. And then we have a custom IR and everything. So I think it's you know, pretty thick for what it is so far, and but I think it could be worked on a little bit more. Like I said, it could definitely use some work. I'm still pretty much fine-tuning it. I threw it together quick, so let's check out the drop tune. I think the drop tune's pretty cool. It's pretty accurate. I mean, I can go like 8 whole steps down, which is a little crazy to me. Once you start getting down there, it has like kind of like a latency effect, but I mean, it's still pretty cool. Let's check that out. Yeah. The thing that's weird is like you can still hear the strings in the normal tuning with the drop tune, and it sounds really, really weird. It definitely throws you off. We have the ambiverb, which is just a nice ambience reverb. There's a ton of different reverbs on here. You have a delay. It's pretty cool. And like I said, I have a custom IR, you have a graphic EQ, which you can change everything. I have an Overdrive, and this is the head I'm using. It's an SL100. I believe it's modeled after like a Soldano. So it's really cool. I really like the way it sounds. I'm not pushing too much gain from the amp. I like using the Overdrive. I still got to kind of go through and really fine tune everything. But I really like it. You can see without the custom, or without the custom IR, it's just sounds like one of those old like crappy pedals without it. So obviously you can do low cut, high cut, so that's pretty cool. But definitely a cool sound. It's not really that bad for what it is, and I really like it. So definitely needs a little bit of work, but for setting it up really quick, it's really not that bad, and I'm definitely happy with it. Let's get the camera set up so we can get out of this focus right here, and we'll talk about a few things. All right, so we went over some of the main key features that I think stand out on this unit. You heard a couple different sound snippets. Obviously, there is a lot to this unit. We can't get to everything in one video. It's nearly impossible. So some of you might be disappointed that I didn't check out every single effect or preset, but it's nearly impossible. But what I can tell you is to subscribe, and we will do a part 2 where we kind of dive into it deeper. I want to plug it into the amp, do the 4-cable method, and kind of just mess around with stuff more, and we'll keep that for part 2. So part 1 is just kind of first impressions, and I'll tell you what I think about it so far, and show you how easy it is to use. And then part 2, we'll kind of dive into it deeper. With that being said, honestly, when I unboxed this thing, I kind of went into it with the wrong mindset. I plugged it into my amp using the 4-cable method, was trying to build a rig, using distortions and an amp and everything while it was plugged into my amp, and I kind of just wasn't thinking. I wasn't getting it. And then finally, I was kind of disappointed with the sound I was getting, and then I realized, I bought this head for a reason. I love my amp distortion. I love the sound I get from the cab and my setup, so why would I want to change that? So once I built a rig with, I did the effects loop block, so I can do anything after that will be in the effects loop with the 4-cable method. And then I did like an overdrive and an EQ and a gate and everything, and then it really came to life. Obviously when you're going into your amp, using your amp distortion and stuff like that, there's no need to do an amp and a cab and an IR and everything like that. So once I changed my thought process on that, it really woke up. But where I think this unit really, really shines is definitely plugged directly into your interface, or, obviously you can use it as an interface, which I haven't done yet, but that's when it really shines, because then you can use the amp, you can use a cab, an IR. If you want to use it in a live setting, I'm sure you can go directly into the PA, or you can get a power amp and do it that way, pair it up with a power amp, and I know a couple of guys that do it that way. So I really think that's where this shines though. But what really, really woke the unit up was once I loaded some custom IRs onto it. I think that was the game changer. In the demo you heard before with my distortion, I kind of just put that together pretty fast, and it sounds decent. I'm pretty happy with it, but I think it could be way better. But I'm using a ML Sound Labs custom IR. It's like a mega cab with a Royer 121 microphone, and it just sounds nice and thick, and that was definitely a game changer. When I use a custom IR, I take away the cab and just use the head and the IR. I have an EQ pedal in between, because I think the changes on the EQ are just really dramatic when you go in between the head and the IR, and you can really change the sound of it, and I think that's awesome. But once I loaded that custom IR into it, that's when it really, really woke this unit up. So that's definitely where it shines, and I can't wait to really dive into it and get a really, really good sound going. As far as ease of use, like I said, to navigate this unit is super easy. If you have fat fingers like me, it can be kind of a pain in the butt because the screen isn't the biggest, but because of this nice scroller knob, it makes it way easier. So thank you, Headrush, for doing that, because without that, this unit would kind of be a pain of the butt to use because I hit like 3 things at once. So I think that's awesome. As far as performance, I will say it's been pretty smooth. I haven't had any kind of glitches or anything. I will tell you though, when I did the firmware update, I ran into a problem twice where I went to turn the unit on and it froze. It's happened twice and I had to unplug it, let it sit for a while, and I don't know if it like resets itself or something, but then I plug it back in, turn it on, and it was fine. Now, am I gonna disown it or throw it away or get rid of it because of that? No. Am I gonna return it because of that? No. Does it change the way I feel? Not really, not at all. If it keeps happening, I probably definitely will contact Headrush about it. I went on a forum and it seems like it's happened to a couple different people after they do the firmware update. And so I'm just going to keep an eye on it. It's only happened twice. It hasn't happened in a while. I've turned it on and off a bunch of times since then. But to me, that could potentially be something catastrophic. If you're playing a live gig where you have 5 to 10 minutes to do set changes and your adrenaline's already going because you want to get set up and you want everything to be right, you don't want to miss anything, and then you go to turn your pedal on and it's frozen and it won't do anything, that could hold the whole thing up. So that could potentially be an issue. So hopefully it doesn't happen, and maybe if they do another firmware update, it will take care of that problem. But I'm not going to contact Headrush just yet. It could have just been a freak thing. But if it keeps happening or if it happens again, I probably will contact them just to see what they say. And I'll definitely keep you guys posted on that. But otherwise, performance has been super smooth. No weird fart outs or anything or glitches or anything like that. So I think that's awesome. It is definitely a solid unit. All the options on the back I think are amazing, you know, with your phone, headphones and auxes and USB and all that stuff. I think you just have a ton of options. It's basically like all the other Headrush stuff, just super compact into a tiny, tiny board. Way smaller than I thought it was going to be, but that's still fine. It still functions perfectly good. So first impressions are, I love this thing. I think it's really, really cool, especially for the money. You're paying $399 retail for this unit. So for that much money, I think you're getting a lot. And you know, especially compared to other stuff where this has, you know, this has the quad processor and, you know, all the other, you know, you got the Helix, the Quad Cortex and stuff. You can't even compare them because they're all in their own worlds. They're all just different units. So it's not to say like this is better than the other one. You can't really say that because honestly, they're all their own thing. So I think for the price range where this stands, it is a great unit and I definitely recommend it. So definitely go online, check one out. Like I said, you can get them. They seem to be in stock everywhere, and you can get them for a great price. So pretty much it for this video. We'll keep it short and sweet. Definitely stick around, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the part 2 where we'll dive deeper into it and see what else this thing can do. I think I have a lot to learn still. You know, with the set lists and the scene things and stuff like that, and I'm sure once I figure all that out, my opinion about me not wanting to use this in a live setting right now will change. But once I figure all that out, I'm sure it'll be fine and you could use this thing live with no problem. So yeah, great unit. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Feel free to leave a comment and we will see you in the next video.